What's up, y'all? So today I'm going to be showing you how I use my RevAir to stretch my hair if I'm going to be wearing a stretch style. So it depends on what I'm actually going to be doing. So if I'm going to be doing a silk press, then I don't think I need to use a RevAir because I have a blow dryer for that. And honestly, I believe handheld blower dryers are a little bit more powerful than the RevAir. But that's actually what I love about it, because the heat from the RevAir is not as impactful as a traditional handheld blow dryer. From my observation, there is no scientific study to confirm this, but I've been in the industry for a while, so I do believe that the RevAir is a lot more gentle on your hair strands and easier to maneuver, especially for beginners, than a typical handheld blow dryer. Now, I do think there are a lot of excellent handheld blow dryers that have a comb attachment that are great for you to use. And if you're really pro, then you know how to use it with the nozzle and the paddle brush. But we're gonna start at level 1 and we are going to blow dry my hair. I'm not really sure what style I'm gonna do yet, but I just want it to be blow dried out, because usually if I don't know what I'm gonna do, I will either put it in braids or twists, like maybe 10 large braids or twists, because that will allow me to stretch my hair for the day, and then the next day I'll typically put it in a ponytail or some type of style like that. Or I will do a wash and go, but because I don't have a hood dryer at home, I like to wash and go my hair at home and then go to the salon to sit under the hood dryer. But sometimes the time, my schedule, not really able to do that. So this is one of those days where I'm not able to do that, but I needed to shampoo my hair. So this is why we're here. I'm like, you know what? Don't want to do a wash and go. Don't want to do the braids thing. I don't want to wear a wig right now. So I'm going to blow out my hair, and hopefully I can create a quick style that I can wear for a bit in case I want to change it up tomorrow or another day. Let's dive in.
So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when it comes to using heat is that they don't do enough prep work. So right now I'm going to be showing you what I use to prepare my hair before I use the RevAir, or honestly, any heating tool. So depending on what my end result is going to be will determine how much of each product I will be using. I love to use a leave-in conditioner that kind of doubles as a heat protectant, and of course some type of heat protectant serum. So here I'm using the Amika Hydrate leave-in conditioner, and I like to use this to prime my hair for any style, honestly, but especially for heat styles. And I'm following that with the Sacred leave-in. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's a great leave-in as well. And I'm applying that all the way throughout my hair, especially the ends, because that is the oldest part and that's the part that is most prone to damage. And then I'm going to follow that with this Paul Mitchell Skinny Serum. This is a great heat protectant. It's pretty lightweight. Sometimes I do like to use the Moroccan oil heat protectant. And especially whenever I'm doing a silk press and I want it to have, I guess, more humidity blocking properties. Not saying that this Paul Mitchell doesn't. It does a great job, but I do think the Moroccan oil has a heavier base to allow it to have more humidity blocking properties. So once I am done applying my heat protectant, I am going to now section my hair into palatable sections, meaning that these are sections that I feel that I can handle with my blow dryer or with the RevAir. One thing I noticed is that people tend to make sections far too large for what they can handle with the blow dryer, and especially with the RevAir. I think if you are new to using the RevAir, you should definitely make smaller sections. So on average, I make about 6 sections per side of my head, so about 12. I would say 10 to 12 sections. And I like to wrap it in this knot. As you saw me do earlier, the knot is very easy to pull out once I tug at the end. And this just makes it very easy to flow through. That way I'm not having to pause and undo my hair with each blow dried section. Another thing you can do, of course, is use clips or hair ties to section your hair away. But the key is to have very clean sections. Like, I would even advise using a comb to make these sections. That way your roots are not getting caught up while you're blow drying. I've been doing this so often, so I'm pretty good at it now. But yes, you want your sections to be very clean and easy to work through quickly. So now that my hair is thoroughly detangled, as you guys saw, I like to use the unbrush. It's one of my golden tools that I love for, honestly, especially type 4 hair that's really tight or very tangle prone. It gets the tangles out very well. But yes, my hair is thoroughly detangled, sectioned away, and now I'm about to start using the RevAir. So I like to use it on the highest heat and highest tension, and I think that gets me the quickest and best results. But of course, some people like to use the air only, no heat option. If you're very, very afraid of using heat, then that could be a good option for you. I just think it's going to probably take a little bit longer. But, maybe that's a good setting to start with. And then you can start playing with the low heat and then high heat settings as you continue to work with your RevAir. Since I've been using this for a couple of years, one thing I like to do is swirl it around the base of my scalp. Reason I'm doing that is because sometimes the scalp doesn't thoroughly dry if you don't do this actually. And I don't want to have to go back and blow dry this with the traditional blow dryer. Sometimes if I will do a silk press, but like I mentioned earlier, I usually don't use the RevAir for a silk press. But if I was going to, I would start with this machine and then follow it up with a traditional comb attachment blow dryer, and typically this blow dryer has higher heat, but I want to avoid that for this particular style. So I'm going to swirl it around my scalp and ensuring that my scalp is fully dry. And after it's been on my actual hair strands for about, I would say 30 seconds, then I pull it down maybe a couple of inches so that it can thoroughly dry my ends, because my hair is not super duper long, but it is on the longer side. So if your hair is on the, I would say about my length or longer, you definitely want to pull the RevAir down and just let it sit there for a couple more seconds so that it can dry your ends as well. You don't have to do that up and down motion, as it will dry in place. But like I said, you just need to pull it down a couple of inches, let it dry, and then you should be done with that section. And of course, you want to run your hands through it to see how it's feeling, and it will let you know. You'll know whether it is fully dry or not. I'm not doing it in this video, but usually I like to use this device while I'm sitting. I feel like I can't really blow dry often while I'm sitting and still get a great result. So obviously I'm standing here. It's a YouTube video I'm filming, but typically I would be sitting down in my chair and have my knee up so that I can rest my arm on my knee while I'm blow drying, because honestly, having my hands over my head can be a very exhausting process, especially because I'm doing hair all day. So I try to do as little as possible when it comes to doing my own hair. As little energy that I have to expend as possible is better. So that's one of the reasons why I like to sit and use the RevAir. Here is one step that I think that people skip all the time. So now that I'm done blow drying, I'm actually going to put something that reduces the friction between my strands. So I'm going to actually be following this style up. I wasn't sure what I was going to do later, but I'm going to end up doing a crown braid, I believe. And I'm going to apply this Camille Rose Hydrate. I like this conditioner because it has humectant and hydrating properties of honey, but it also has oil. So my hair is not going to revert or shrink when I apply this. But when I take my hair down, it's still going to be moisturized. It's still going to be, not juicy, but it's still going to have some moisture to it. So before I put my hair in any style, I'll usually prime it with something. The final step that I think a lot of people skip when it comes to using the RevAir is to brush their hair out. You definitely want to brush it out once you're done using it. No matter what style you're going to follow it with, you want to brush your hair out. Okay, now we're getting into the fun part, which is to style. I found a style on Pinterest. I actually have a style series where I am creating styles that I found on Pinterest, but trying to do it the quote unquote natural way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a natural style, but it's a cute style that I want to transform and try to see how it would look on my own hair. So I found this style on Pinterest, and it's essentially a crown braid with little tendrils and curls. And I didn't necessarily want to use too much heat on my hair, but I think using heat does make the style look cuter. One of the things I do whenever I like to do my hair in little tendrils or little these two-piece bangs, I typically end up two-strand twisting it later on when I know I'm not going to be going out, to be very visible, or I'm going to be going to the gym. I'll just put it in two-strand twists. That way it preserves the stretch of the hair at least, and it's kind of like a style, but of course I prefer the wand curled look or even the straight look for these specific bangs. But anyway, I am again priming my hair before I braid it. And here, you're just going to watch me braid my hair down. I'm not using any gel throughout the actual hair. I am going to use gel on my edges because I feel like it makes the look, I think it makes the look a little bit more polished. But of course, you can go no gel if that is your jam. So I am going to just be braiding my hair, and I'm actually going to be putting out a mini braiding course to show beginners how to braid. I think it's one of those skills that makes it really easy to have a good wash day, that you don't always have to rely on a stylist, even though I do think that every natural should have a stylist that they can go to at least get their trims, or maybe bi-monthly deep conditioners or bi-monthly protein treatments. Somebody that can like check in on your hair and make sure that whatever you're doing at home is getting done well. And they can also help you think of other styles and options that you can consider for a future. You can create not content calendar, but a hair content calendar with your stylist to help you plan out how you want your hair to look for the rest of the year. I have a couple of clients who do that, and I think it really helps them stay on top of their hair care without having to think about what they want to do next, and also without having to necessarily follow a trend. I do think we all love a good trendy hairstyle, but I think it is good to have a foundation of how you want to wear your hair on a weekly, monthly, and honestly daily basis. One of the things I wanted to briefly talk about in this video was hair exposure therapy, meaning exposing yourself to your own hair on a more regular basis. And I think that this can be a touchy topic because, of course, there are people that, number one, you just don't like how your hair looks. And I think that's part of the reason why I think it's important, is because the more you expose yourself to your hair in a way that actually looks good to you and feels presentable, the more you will start liking it. And I don't think this is something that we have to force people to like their quote unquote 4C hair the way it is after you shampoo it. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying is, what styles can you create with your own hair that will allow you to feel comfortable wearing it out? Let's say if your stylist cancels on you, or you just want to feel free. You don't want to be stuck to a wig all the time. You don't want to be stuck to braids all the time, because though some of these styles can be protective, a lot of times they aren't. So like braids, I've actually decided for myself that I can't get braids more than twice a year. And the truth is really once a year, because I've learned that it just doesn't do well with my strands. And after 2 weeks, my scalp is on fire, even if I do the hypoallergenic options. Even if, honestly, it's the tightness. Like, unless it's super duper loose, which unfortunately makes it look a little older quicker, my hair just can't handle the additional tension from outside hair, which is one of the reasons why I do love wigs. I love wigs. I love hair extensions. I do love sew-ins as well. I just don't do sew-ins that often because I do like to do my own hair because I can control the amount of tension, but I do love a good wig. However, one thing I've learned about wigs is if you get so used to wearing them all the time, you start to not really love the way your own natural hair looks. And let me not say love, but when you take it off, it's just like, ooh, it feels like a shock. And maybe I'll just speak for myself. I think it's good to rotate wearing your own hair with wearing other looks, because trust me, I am a big alternative look person. I love to switch up my hair all the time. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't wear alternative styles, but what I am saying is that you should try to expose your hair to yourself in styles that you actually enjoy and love on a more regular basis. And by regular basis, I mean at least once every 2 months, once every 3 months at minimum. All right, I hope that resonates well with you. So I finish up the style with these curls. I like to put the flat iron on super low, and I know my hair is probably going to revert pretty soon, but I did not want to put too much heat right now. If I was going to be going to an event, I probably would raise the heat on the flat iron a little higher, but I think for right now, it's just a video and I didn't plan to go anywhere that evening. So we're going to work with what we got. And I like the result. I think it's really cute. I think this can be worn to an elegant event. I think it can be worn every day. And like I said, I would put these in 2-strand twist once it starts to get old. I want to hear from you guys. What are some hairstyles that you wear with your own hair to help yourself with hair exposure therapy? Also, are you a RevAir user? If you aren't, what other tools you use for heat styling? And if you are, what are some tips that I might not have mentioned that you can add to help other people? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you here next time. Bye.